Howdy y'all and welcome back to Lives. I think it's time to play a little 7 Days to Die. Alright. So today I think I want to go exploring a little bit here. I need coal. I've got niter, I've got lead, I've got brass. Coal is the thing that's holding me back right now. And I honestly don't remember where you find coal. Um, so I think what we're going to do is I need to get out of these three biomes, right? I need to find one of the other biomes. So I'm going to go uh, west. East. This is east. I'm going to go east. And since that lets us stay in the more temperate biome and see if we can't find some place that will provide me with coal. Because all I've seen out here is lead and um, niter. So we shall see what I can find. And so when we do that, we can talk about D&D. This is quite a week. We had a little bit of everything that annoys us about D&D. So we start off and there's this. So we got this guy with us, right? And he's a revenant, and so he's supposed to hunt down his killers, basically. And he he tells us where he can sense them, and then we head in that direction, right? Because we agreed to help him out, and so a shopping cart in the middle of the road, and so um, we found one of them and we took him out last week, and then he tells us where the other two are at. So we start heading down the tunnels in the direction where he said he could sense it, and our DM keeps giving us distances. He can sense her 40 feet away, and so I don't know what he's using to detect where they're at, but we're standing in this hallway, and he's like, he can sense her 40 feet in front of you. And I'm like, I can see 40 feet down this hallway. I don't see anything. And I'm like, is she invisible? Like, is there some way I can sense where she's at? He's like, no, you just can't see her yet. I'm like, but you said she was 40 feet in front of us, and I can see 60 feet down this hallway. So, where is she at? Well, you're just not to where she's at yet. I'm like, but you just said she was 40 feet in front of us. Well, I mean, I'm like, yeah, I know. You're terrible at describing anything. Alright, I didn't say that, but I was thinking it. And so then, so she's in this other room. She's like 40 feet in another room, down a hallway from. Whoop, crashed right into that one. Uh, so she's probably a good 100 feet away from us. And he said the other one was 270 feet south of us. So who knows? Who knows? And so we kill her. It was super easy. I, and then we get to the thing I despise. Like the distance thing is pretty standard. He can't describe anything where it's at, and then once we react to it, then he moves it. Says, "Oh, it wasn't supposed to be there," but we don't get to do our part over. So now we're just in the middle of everything. And I really hate like you enter the room and he hasn't put the bad guys down, and then your guys are just in the room, and then he puts all the bad guys around you, so they're surrounding you on all the sides. Like your guy would just rush headlong into the room blindly and, not react to the guys that are closest to the entrance. And so they're invisible creatures. And so he does this thing where he's a horrible cheat. And this is what it stems from. He's a horrible cheat. And so he doesn't believe that anybody else would just play the game the way it's meant to be played. And so because they're invisible, they also don't show up on the initiative. And so on the left-hand side is a list of when things are supposed to take their turns. And so, oh shoot, I wasn't paying attention. I'm pretty sure there's some gas right here, though. And so, all of a sudden we're getting attacked, and I'm like, what are we getting attacked by? It's my turn. Why am I not getting to take my turn? I don't understand what's happening. He's like, oh, well, they're invisible creatures. I'm like, but they're not on the initiative. He's like, yeah, they are. You just can't see them because they're invisible. I'm like, okay, granted, I can't see the creatures, but shouldn't they still be on the initiative? Like, you described that we could see what they were doing, and I'm pretty sure the creatures he was attacking with us are not allowed to attack. But they were special. They were special because... Oh, right, I'm out of bullets. Shoot. And so we get attacked by these invisible servants. I haven't looked up in the book to see if they were special somehow. I mean, bad guy creatures get to do things that regular good guy creatures don't. So, I mean, I'm not saying that they couldn't have been special. I'm just saying that I have my doubts. And so, yeah, we, I don't know, it was weird. And then I'm like, well, did they move to attack us? Well, no, they were just standing right next to you. How were they? So I entered the room and I walked past some of them because people who are getting attacked are farther back than I am, and they didn't attack me then, and they waited to attack me until now that it's their turn. I don't understand. Your invisible creatures are doing things they're not supposed to be doing because they're invisible, and you can just pretend that they're wherever you want them to be because we can't see that you're cheating. Anyways, the damage was so minuscule it didn't matter. And that it was the invisible on the initiative order that irritated me, because he can't handle the initiative order. He's always forgetting things, and then he adds things to the initiative order later, and he'll do things like, oh, I forgot to put these guys on the initiative. Let me roll their initiative now. Oh, they should have gone first. So they didn't take their turn yet this turn. So obviously they're going to take their turn now. And then, oh, look at that. They also are top of the next turn. So they're going to take basically 2 turns in a row without you being able to react to them. Which would be something if D&D wasn't a game, combat-wise, about how much damage you can dish out. And so we got no chance to react to the amount of damage they dished out. Anyways, yeah. And so then, so we took care of that, and then we, the previous week, we had run into these guys. I was hoping there'd be more gas in here. There's like no gas in here, though. Hey, that's better than my axe. And so we'd run into these guys. I think they were dead. I think we ran into some dead bodies, and there was a note with them, and the note I had written down in my notes. They were Xanathar guild members, and Xanathar is a group that we fight with all the time. And so they were Xanathar guild members, and one of them had a password, what was clearly a password written down. And so I was like, oh man, I definitely. Did I get him? No. Did I get him? No. I don't have any bullets. Ow, he got me. How about now? No. Man, this pig won't die. And so I'd written down Xanathar Guild, note, probably a password. And so we come into this area, and the guy demands that we turn over all of our things, or else he's going to attack us. Well, obviously you're not going to turn over all your things. And so our thief said that we had tangled with a gelatinous cube and it had eaten most of our stuff. And so we roll. And he gets a 24, which is super high. I can't kill this pig. I give up. I'm just wasting gas at this point. And so he believes that maybe some of our stuff was eaten, because obviously we're wearing our magic gear, and so I didn't have a problem with that. That seems pretty fair that he can see that we still have our good gear on, and so then our guy throws a gold coin at him, and goes to leave, and then he says, "Well, that was an insult," and so they attack. Not once did they ask us for the password, which is what they were supposed to do. Not once did they ask for the password that we knew. And I was disappointed because I had written it down so that we could use that password. And so then when we're fighting these guys, yeah, so we're fighting these guys. And he does this thing where the ceilings are always super high so they can fly up or crawl up or climb up out of melee range. And is that before? Yeah. And I was trying to remember what order the things came in. And so we're fighting these guys, and they're he says one group of them is asleep, and he doesn't know when to start initiative, and so he only starts initiative after the bad guys get to do something every time, which is not how initiative works, because initiative is slow down time, right? If you've ever been in a major, like, something super impactful or scary, maybe you've experienced slow down time. And bullet time, right? We call it bullet time in video games, but that's a thing. Like, I've experienced it a few times in my life. Like, one time I was driving a car and the roads were icy, and you couldn't see that they were icy. And so when I came around a corner toward a bridge over a river, my car started sliding all over the road. And I definitely experienced some bullet time at that point, because I remember it distinctly. We were sliding around, and the guy that was with me thought we were going to die. And I told him, I turned and I said, "Hang on, I'm going to put it in the ditch next to the bridge, so that we didn't go into the side of the bridge or in the river or something." And so, I had the wherewithal while that was happening to do what I wanted, and I did. Put it in the ditch about, 40 feet before the bridge. I was young and dumb and didn't know how to drive a car on ice. I definitely wouldn't do the same thing now. This is like fancy town here. And does Fancy Town have any bookstores? Because I'm still missing a few schematics I wouldn't mind getting my hands on. Well, this part's not Fancy Town. Uh, and so, yeah, so we fought and killed those guys. And while we're fighting them, I hadn't had the book open all night. Because like I said, I don't normally try to follow the book while we're doing it because I want to play it like an adventure. The problem is that things happen that I'm sure can't be what's in the book, and so I have to know. I have to know after it's over. And so we're fighting, and while we're fighting, we keep Xanathar. Xanathar has access to these things called intellect devourers, which are these creatures that teleport inside people's heads and then eat out their brains and control their bodies. And I've run into them a few times in my games of D&D, but I don't think I've ever controlled one before. And so we kill a guy, and the intellect devourer, which we've seen before, our characters have seen before, comes out of his head, but then it vanishes, and I'm like, I don't remember them being able to vanish. I'm like, okay, and so I cast a spell that hits the area where it vanished from, or vanished to, because I'm like, do I hear it move? And he's like, well, no, you don't hear it move. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I just want to make sure I didn't get an opportunity attack or something when it ran away. And he's like, well, no, you don't hear it run away. It like misty stepped, and I'm like, okay, I am pretty sure intellect devourers do not get misty step, and so I had to open the book at that point because I'm like, this is not possibly how things are supposed to be happening. They're not. I think maybe it's a special one. I don't know, but this seems weird because then it happened a second time, and I'm like, okay, now I know for sure this is not how things work. And so I look it up. Nowhere in the book, nowhere in the book does it say they're supposed to do what he did. And then I open the intellect devourer page, and they can teleport. They can teleport from inside someone's head to right next to them, and that's as far as they can go. And they can only do that with an action, and which means on their turn, which means that it should have appeared on the ground, and they don't have invisibility. So I don't know where this guy got invisibility from to teleport away. What is this? Oh, it's an army base. I just saw the flag. U.S. Army Post. And yeah, so I wasn't happy with that because he did it twice. And then we got the standard, if you fight it, it runs away. And so we had to chase it, and chase it, and chase it, and chase it, and chase it. Couldn't catch it. We didn't have enough speed to catch it. We had to shoot it with bows. We could only keep up with it because somehow it managed to run. The creature managed to run so fast, which it shouldn't have been able to do again. But I don't understand why everything runs in his games. Everything runs away, and then so I'm pretty irritated by that. The guy I'm playing with sends me a message. He's like, "Yeah, I've been pretty quiet the last little bit here because I actually walked away from the computer because I was done." I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "I wasn't sitting there to listen to him prattle on, repeating himself about what was happening in the fight." when all we're going to be doing is chasing these things around the hallways. Um, and so, uh, so then, then we get to the thing that I think is the most ridiculous thing that, I'm going to get myself killed here because oh, that's a runner. Dang it. Told you I was going to get myself killed. Dang it. Didn't expect a pair of runners. Ugh. Where's my bed? Ow. You know what? It looks like I'm about 6'1", half dozen the other. Might as well head east to get my bike back. Yeah, those still look pretty good. I made some really crappy gear. So there's no reason for me to be running around overweight if I can help it here. I'm not sure I can. Probably got plenty of oil. There we go. So the next thing has to do with how our game itself the software we use to play works, and um, that was uh, like I said, it was just like everything, every single thing practically that irritates us, and so then we get to going down this hallway, and he asks what we want to do. And so we're working our way down the hallway. So you can't see because he's got dynamic lighting set up. Well, I don't know if he's got dynamic lighting set up, but there's dynamic lighting. And so wherever your token is on the screen is what you can see from. And it only goes out 60 feet. And then, because he doesn't change that number. Like if it's daytime where you could see farther, or if it's already lit up where you could see farther, he doesn't have that dynamic stuff set in. He's only got the 60 feet of dark vision, and just plays the game based on you can only see 60 feet. Um, Meanwhile, your bows have like a 600 or 720 foot range on them. Um, so I don't know how he equates those two numbers together. But because of the dynamic lighting, you can't see what the map looks like. It's all a black screen, and as you move your character, you can't go through the walls because they've been marked as impassable, and and you can't like see through doors or anything like that. And so doors have to be opened, and then you can see through them. And so the screen is just all black except the places where you've been, which are grayed out, except for this 60-foot circle around your guy. in areas where you can see, because that's all blocked by walls and stuff. So it's like it's kind of like what you would see if your guy was standing there. And so, um, but the problem is that you can't tell what you want to do on the map as a player, because you can't see the map. And so when you say I want to search for traps, and he says, okay, this is the, go ahead and roll it, and this is your number for this hallway. And then you move down your token down the hallway, and it only appears when you put the token down. So you're constantly picking up, moving the token to the edge of the blackness, putting the token down, and so the thief, he usually leads the way. He's kind of our scout, basically, and so he's scouting ahead, and we're moving along right behind him. And the tunnel turns the corner, so he turns the corner, and then he takes his guy, and then he plops it down in the darkness to reveal the tunnel. Well, it's not a tunnel, it's a room. And the room has this massive bad guy in it. And so then our DM's like, oh, you entered the room. It saw you. And we're like, wait. We wouldn't have entered the room. We couldn't see that a room even existed at that point. No, you moved your token to the room. You've seen it now. So you know it's there. So it's going to attack you now. Like, no, it's not what happened, and you know it. We're not seeing the map, dude. We're seeing a black screen, and you know that we're seeing a black screen. Stop acting like we put the token in there so that we can see the room equals you're in the room. It's not the same thing. We didn't move into the room. And then that was another one where he's like, it's 20 feet. The ceilings are 20 feet. So it's 20 feet in the air. Well, I guess the top of its head's 20 feet in the air. I'm like, yeah, it's a 10 by 10 creature, so it's actually only 10 feet off the ground, and my guy can hit that. Pretty sure my 7-foot tall guy is going to be able to stab something with his greatsword that's only 10 feet up. And I mean, if he just balanced his sword on his head, it's probably going to reach more than 10 feet up. And so then one of the things I like to do is when he gets to a creature I know he's really happy to use, I like to take the rules that he's mutated and use them against him. I know it's probably not the nice thing to do, but by the end of the night I was so irritated. So one of the things that he has done that I disagree with is he's changed the rules on how you cast spells. And so the correct way is that if you want to cast 2 spells in a turn, one of them has to have a bonus action cast time, and the other spell cannot be higher than a cantrip. So, for example, if you wanted to cast Healing Word, which is a bonus action spell, then you could cast Healing Word, but if you want to use your action to cast a different spell, it has to be a cantrip with a casting time of 1 action. Those are the rules. There are ways to get around that, but they are class features and require the use of some other abilities. And so he has changed the rules so that instead of working that way, it what it does is it unbalances casters. It just makes them ridiculously overpowered. I'm going to get some more gas here, I guess. And which he likes because he likes to play casters. And so what he has is you can just cast 2 spells. Just one has to be a bonus action, and the other one has to be, can be a regular action. And so I like to use that against him sometimes. And so I really, really hammer down on the boss mobs when they appear using the caster I'm playing. And so I had picked up. I thought he was going to get rid of it because he made a comment to me that they had released new rules on some of the things, and he thought that he would switch to the new rules, and which didn't apply to me, and so I thought he just meant he was going to get rid of the old stuff because nothing in the new rules that came out had anything to do with any of our classes. So I really don't know what he meant by that comment, and when I asked him, he didn't really respond to it. But anyways, that has nothing to do with anything. And so we're fighting this guy, and so I bring my caster, and I'm like, all right, I cast this spell on him. And he's like, all right, that's your turn. And then I'm like, nope. And then I'm going to cast this other spell on him. So the other spell, if he fails, causes him to... he's only able to use his action on his next turn to either dash or disengage. And that's the only 2 things he can do with his action. And so I used it on the guy, he failed. And so instead of disengaging or something, he had him run. And so he ran into the other room. And then we reached the thing again. We can't see the map. We can only see the area we've been to and the 60 feet around us. And the 60 feet around us is blocked by walls. And so he moves the guy, and I'm like, how far can that guy move? Because he's just gone off the screen. He's like 40 feet. It's 20 feet, but I had him do the dash action like your spell said, and so he moved 40 feet. And I'm like, I can see 60 feet, so where did he go that he's no longer within my vision? Well, he just went in here. I'm like, okay, but 40 feet from where he started is still inside my vision. I can see 50 feet into that next room from where I'm standing, and he's not visible. And so it turns out what he was doing is instead of moving the guys, and he must have been doing it all night because I kept seeing him. The program has this tool where you can drag your mouse and measure how far the distance is from one thing to another. And so he must have been using this the entire night. I'm not even close, man. And so what he done is he measured 40 feet from the bad guy we were fighting into the next room through the walls and then moved the guy to there. And I'm like, he has to go around just like we would. What do you mean? I'm like, he can't just teleport through walls. He has to go through the hallway into the next room, just like we would. Oh, well, I mean, that's what I did. I'm like, yeah, I know that's what you did. You teleported him into the next room, and he can't do that. He has to go around through the hallway. So he would still be in my sight. No, look, I used the thing, and then he measures it, and I'm like, dude, that's through a wall? Unless he opened a secret passage. That is through a wall. I am a dead man. Oh, maybe I'm not. Why didn't you go attack that pig? I feel like pig would be more interesting to you. So anyways, in the end, we killed everything like we normally do, and and then and then we're like, I'm like, oh, my guy is pretty damaged at this point. I'm thinking we should probably go back and do a long rest. And he's like, you can't do a long rest yet. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you can't long rest. You only can do that once per day. I'm like, what stops us from going back to town and spending the rest of the day at the tavern that we own, and then taking a good night's rest later that night, and then coming back the next day? Oh well, I guess you could do that, but things might change. Yeah, we know. That's the nice thing about a dynamic, possibly dynamic world, is that things change. But we know that things aren't going to change because instead of doing the dynamic part like you're supposed to, you've just been having us face everything all at once. Yeah. So, yep, that was our session this week. It was a doozy. Uh, Nobody almost died. We're starting to survive the gang ups that make no sense. There's a lot of animal life over here that I don't get back at my regular base. A lot of meat running away from me that I don't want to stop and grab because I don't have space for it. It's still so far to my bike yet. Alright, well, I'm going to call it here. So click like if you like, subscribe, and catch the next one. And I will talk to you later.